We want to understand the history. That's what the kids are going to talk about. They're just going to talk about Yuddhakand or the events leading to Dashera. They will talk about the entire Ramayana. That's the historical aspect. We should do all of these. But the most important aspect of a festival is the philosophical aspect. What is the deeper meaning behind that celebration of that festival? So we want to understand, why do we celebrate from a philosophical perspective? So we want to understand 4 questions, the answers to 4 questions today. Who is Ravan? What is Ravan? Who killed Ravan? And what killed Ravan? Right? Some of these questions you might find silly. What is Ravan? What does that mean? What is Ravan? So we are talking about the mindset. What is that mindset of Ravan? We all know Ravan is the son of a Brahmin, Vishrava, and Kaikashi, a demon. She was the Rakshasi. He was a great scholar. He was a Chaturvedi. He knows the 4 Vedas. He was a great physician. He wrote 7 books on medicine based on Ayurveda. But at the same time, he had so many anarthas in his heart. Right? He had so much lust, so much greed. So we understand who is Ravan. Everybody knows the story of Ramayana. So we understand he took Sita, he abducted Sita, and he did many bad things. But what is Ravan? According to Skanda Puran, there are 3 verses in Skanda Puran which tells us about the 10 heads of Ravan. Right? Ravan's original name is Dashagriva, which means the one who has 10 necks. Griva means neck. Right? 10 necks. What do they represent? They represent 3 bodily sins. 3 bodily sins, 4 verbal sins, 3 mental sins. So what are the 3 bodily sins? The first sin is stealing someone's property. That's one of the sins we should not do. What did Ravan do? He stole Lanka from his stepbrother, Kubera. So we shouldn't steal someone else's property. The second bodily sin is unauthorized and illegal violence, which is doing illegal violence. The third sin we all know, to kidnap, to abduct someone else's wife. To abduct someone else's wife. So these are the 3 bodily sins. Then the 4 verbal sins. First one is speaking harsh words. We all know this. Speaking harsh words. Even in Bhagavad Gita it said, we shouldn't speak harsh words. We should speak truth, but which is palatable, which is pleasing, which is beneficial. So when we are speaking harsh words, we should understand one of Ravan's head is rearing in our body too. If we are speaking harsh word, one of Ravan's head is rearing in our body too. Second sin is speaking lies. That's one of the other verbal sin. Don't speak a lie. Third sin, again in Krishna consciousness we know this very well. Criticizing somebody. That's another sin. Criticizing somebody, especially on their back. So sometimes we say, oh, I miss you, Prabhuji. But then when they go away, oh, thank God he's gone. That's criticizing somebody their back. And then 4th one, prajalpa, gossip. That's one of the other sins. So 4 verbal sins. Speaking harsh words, speaking lies, criticizing somebody at the back, and gossiping. So we talked about the bodily sins, talked about the verbal sins. So 3 and 4 is 7, right? So we talked about the 7 heads of Ravan. Now we're talking the rest 3 heads. These are the 3 mental sins, right? So thinking of someone's opulence all the time. Oh, my neighbor has the latest version of Tesla. How can I get it? My neighbor has a big house. So thinking of someone's opulence all the time. That's a mental sin. That's envy, right? The next sin is wishing that someone will have inauspicious results. Oh, I wish he falls into a ditch. Oh, you're wishing something bad for the other person. That's another mental sin. And the third one, the last one, to live in a dreaming world. In Hindi we call it Mungeri Lal ke sapne. Right? So Ravan was always thinking, I will defeat Ram. He was living in a dream world. Right? So these are the 10 sins we have to understand. that we have these sins in our heart. In Hindi it says, Hum sabke andar Ravan hai. In our heart, everybody has Ravan. And Ram abhi one mein hai. Ram is in the forest. In our hearts there is a Ravan. Ram is in the forest. So let's get Ram back into our heart. And with the Ram, my heart, with the heart dedicated to Ram, sit and invite Ram and Sita and say, Ram, please kill the Ravan in my heart. That's the meditation we need to do. That's the meditation, that all the anarthas, all the bad things in our heart, let Ram take it away. Because Ram, if you think, Ravan at that time was having 20 eyes, but his eyes were fixed on one Sita. But if you think about today's men, they have 2 eyes and they're thinking about 20 women. So who is more Ravan? So we have to think, meditate on the real purpose of Dashera. So I still have a few minutes, so I wanted to discuss the pastime from Ramayana. So we discussed who is Ravan, right? What is Ravan? We discussed all the 10 sins that we want to get rid of. Who killed Ravan? Ram. So we know that. Now we want to understand what killed Ravan. It's just not Ram using a war, but there are many, many things leading to that. First one was separation from Sita. So Ram and Sita had the transcendental love, just like Radha Krishna, because they're the same. Right? So, I don't have much time, but one of the pastimes I want to tell is Sita has been abducted. Sita has been abducted from Ravan, and Ram is devastated. He's looking for Sita everywhere. So he's talking to himself. He's talking to his shoulders, because Sita used to sit on his shoulders and think. And in the forest, even though they had a hard life, because their love was so transcendental, Sita used to love that moment. Sita used to sit on the shoulders. So Ram is talking to himself and says, shoulders, you do not miss the company of Sita? You don't want your Sita back? Where is my Sita? Don't you see her? Then he's talking to his lap, because Sita used to sleep in his lap. And Ram used to comb her hair, because Sita said, I will not take a comb for 14 years to the forest. If you want to comb my hair, you have to use your fingers. So Sita used to sit in the lap of Ram, and Ram is talking to his lap. Don't you miss the company of Sita? Where is my Sita? Where is my Sita? Then he's talking to his arms. When the thunderstrike would happen, Sita would come running and I would embrace her. Arms, don't you miss that embrace? Don't you miss the company of my Sita? Where is my Sita? Tell me, why are you silent? Then he's talking to the forest animals. Ram is talking to the forest animal, the deers. The deer have like their fixated eyes, they just keep seeing. So he's talking to the deer and saying, aren't you one of the reasons I lost my Sita? Now you're staring at me, but why are you now eyes over always looking at Sita? Why aren't you now telling me, where is my Sita? Where is my Sita? Tell me. He's talking to the rabbit now. The rabbit have long ears and red eyes. And even though the rabbit has red eyes, Sita has a golden complexion. And when Sita was present there, the rabbit's eyes would turn golden, because Sita's complexion, Sita's effulgence was so bright. So Ram is saying, your eyes turned golden because of Sita. You were always looking at her, and when Sita was singing, your ears would become even bigger. Can't you find where my Sita is? Where is my Sita? He's talking to the chatak bird. The chatak bird is a special bird which only drinks the water from the first water of the rain in the Swati Nakshatra. And he's telling Chatak bird, you were not even faithful to the rain cloud. You were just looking at Sita. Now tell me, where is my Sita? Can't you find, you were so faithful to Sita that even you turned enemy towards rain cloud? He's talking to the Chakor bird. Chakor bird is always looking at the moon. He's so fond of the moon, he's just looking at the moon. But with Sita, with the moon-like face, he forgot the moon. And now he's talking to Chakor. You were not faithful to the moon, but now you can't find the moon-like face of Sita. Where is my Sita? He's talking to the koil, the cuckoo. When Sita used to sing, cuckoo, the koil used to stop singing. You like the singing of Sita so much. Can't you find where is my Sita? He's talking to the bees. The bees love to go to the flowers. But when the bees didn't go to the lotus because they're looking at the lotus-like face of Sita. He's talking to the bees. You even dished the lotus because you like the lotus-like face of Sita. Can't you tell me where is Sita? He's talking to the river, Godavari. That when Sita used to enter the river stopped flowing, and that the water which has flowed away came back because Sita is so pure. Everybody wants the touch of Sita. He's telling Godavari, can't you find my Sita? He's talking to the trees that you had a competition with the sun. The sun used to peep, but then used to cover up the leaves that I want to see Sita. Now tell me, trees, where is Sita? He's talking to the sun and the moon. The sun and the moon, you have the competition. The moon wanted to come early and the sun didn't want to leave because they want to see like the moon-like face of Sita. Where is my Sita? So people complain that how harsh was Ram that he left the pregnant Sita in the Valmiki's ashram, but they don't understand the transcendental love of Ram and Sita. So let's meditate on this love of Ram and Sita. Let's meditate what's the real meaning of Dashera. And I would like to conclude with this beautiful verse from Ramcharitmanas. Sita Ram Charit Ati Pavan Madhur Saras Aur Ati Man Bhavan. Sita Ram Charit Ati Pavan Madhur Saras Aur Ati Man Bhavan, which says Sita Ram Charit Ati Man Pavan, meaning that the character of Ram and Sita is so pure, so auspicious. It is beautiful, it is lovely, and it attracts the hearts of everyone. Pune pune kitne sune sunaye, hiya ki pyas bujhat na bujaye. So you can keep reciting, keep hearing the pastimes of Ram and Sita. Your heart will not be quenched anytime. You can keep hearing. Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Thank you. Now the kids will go turn by turn and they will discuss about the 7 khandas of Ramayana and briefly. So please pray for the kids. Please bless them so they can talk the right words and they can speak the right words at the right time. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
The other way around. Take it out.
Or use the other mic. You want this? This better?
Hare Krishna, everyone. My name is Krisha, and today I'd like to talk about the Balakanda. But first, I think we need to know who wrote the Ramayana. So, what the Ramayana is? So, I know Prabhuji already talked about it, but the Ramayana is a Hindu epic and it's composed by Sage Valmiki. In total, there are 7 kandas. The 7 sections of the kandas are Bala Kanda, Ayodhya Kanda, Aranya Kanda, Kishkinda Kanda, Sundara Kanda, Yuddha Kanda, and Uttara Kanda. First, we need to understand who wrote the Ramayana. So, the person who wrote the Ramayana is Sage Valmiki. He's the author, and he's considered to be the Adi Kavi, or the first poet, for introducing the concept of shloka, and for introducing the concept of shloka inspired by his compassion for a bird that was shot by a hunter. Valmiki is said to have written the epic based on inspiration from Brahma, and he's a central figure in the Ramayana. So the Balakanda is the first book of the Ramayana, and it mainly focuses on Rama's early life, his birth, childhood, and his marriage to Sita. So the birth and childhood of Rama. King Dasharatha of Ayodhya performed the Putra Kameshti Yagna and was blessed with 4 sons: Rama by Queen Kausalya, Bharata by Queen Kaikeyi, Lakshmana and Shatrugna by Queen Sumitra. Ram is raised with princely education and strong moral values. Sage Vishwamitra was a powerful sage, and he approached Dasharatha seeking help from Rama to defeat the demons, or the Rakshasas, that disturbed his sacrificial rituals. Despite his initial hesitation, Dasharatha agreed, and Rama, along with his brother Lakshmana, accompanied Vishwamitra. Some of Rama's early adventures were the Tataka Vada, where Rama slayed the demoness Tataka under Vishwamitra's guidance. Rama's early adventures. Another one of Rama's adventures was when he protected Vishwamitra's yajnas from 2 demons, Maricha and Subahu. He then received divine weapons and blessings from Vishwamitra that helped him in his war against Ravana. Ahalya. She was the wife of Gautama, and she was the beautifulest woman. Indra, who was the king of gods, he desired Ahalya, and he deceived her by disguising as sage Gautama. Gautama discovered this deceit, and he cursed Indra and Ahalya. Ahalya, she was turned into stone, and she lived in penance. Millions of years later, Lord Rama's touch freed Ahalya and purified her. She was then forgiven and reunited with sage Gautama. The Swayamvara of Sita. The Swayamvara of Sita, Vishwamitra took Rama to the Swayamvara of Sita, and many princes and kings were there, but every one of them failed. The challenge was to lift and string the bow of Lord Shiva. Rama successfully did that, and he won Sita's hand in marriage. Return to Ayodhya. Rama returned to Ayodhya with Sita, where they were joyously welcomed by millions of people in the kingdom. Thank you.
Hello? Hello?
Ramayana, Ayodhya Khan by Gauri Andriani.